I used to live in a small but decently maintained apartment building in the outskirts of Portland, Oregon. I had just moved out of my parents' place after graduating college, and this was my first time living completely on my own. The building was 4 stories, with 8 units on each floor. Mine was on the 3rd floor, Unit 307. Rent was manageable, neighbors mostly kept to themselves, and the surrounding area felt relatively safe, especially for a young woman living alone. Things started to feel strange after the guy in apartment 401 moved in. It was early fall when he arrived. I noticed him hauling boxes up the stairs one morning while I was heading out for work. He was probably in his mid-40s, average height, with slicked back dark hair and this odd stiffness in the way he moved, like he was constantly tense. He didn't say anything when I passed him, just nodded once without making eye contact. At first, I didn't think anything of it. People move in and out of that building all the time, but over the next few weeks, he became hard not to notice. He never left during the day, at least not that I saw. I worked a 9 to 5, and every morning when I left, I'd glance up and see him standing at his window, staring down at the street. Same position, arms crossed, just watching. He'd still be there when I came home sometimes, not moving, just staring. It was unnerving. The first real incident happened about a month after he moved in. I got home late one night after grabbing dinner with friends. It was around 11:30 p.m. and the building was quiet like usual. I was walking up the stairs when I heard footsteps on the landing above me. I looked up and saw him, 401, just standing there at the top of the stairs, completely still. The hallway light flickered behind him, which only made the whole thing feel more surreal. "Evening," I said, trying to sound casual. He didn't reply, just turned and walked back down the hall toward his unit. Okay, maybe he's just socially awkward, I thought. No big deal. But then I started noticing things missing from my welcome mat. It started small. My doormat was shifted one day. A pair of sandals I left outside disappeared. Then a week later, a potted plant I had by the door was gone. I asked my downstairs neighbor, this older woman named Alice, if she'd seen anything, and she just shrugged and said, "Weird stuff happens sometimes." I didn't think it was 401 at first, until I came home one afternoon and caught him crouched next to my door. I froze. He stood up slowly, like he wasn't even surprised to see me. "What are you doing?" I asked. He looked down at the floor and mumbled something I couldn't hear. "What?" "Looking for my keys," he said, but he wasn't holding anything, and he didn't even live on my floor. I stepped past him quickly, unlocked my door, and slammed it shut behind me. I reported it to the landlord the next day, but she brushed it off as a misunderstanding. Said he was a quiet guy, keeps to himself. After that, I started locking my bedroom door at night. I also started noticing small things moved inside my apartment. Nothing dramatic, just enough to make me doubt myself. A cabinet left slightly ajar, my phone charger unplugged, my toothbrush moved a few inches. It was enough to make me feel like I was losing my mind. I even started taking photos of certain things before leaving for work. My nightstand, the living room table, the kitchen counter, just to compare later. One Friday evening in November, I decided to stay in and do laundry. The building had a shared laundry room in the basement, and I usually avoided it at night, but I was behind on chores and figured I'd be quick. I went down around 9:30 p.m., put in a load, and went back upstairs to wait. When I returned to switch to the dryer, I immediately noticed something was off. My laundry basket was gone. The washing machine lid was still open, and my wet clothes were sitting in a pile on top of the machine. But the basket, this blue plastic one I'd had since college, was missing. That's when I saw it. Tucked in the corner of the laundry room was a folded piece of paper taped to the wall. In shaky handwriting, it read, "Keep your door locked." I left the laundry, went straight upstairs, and double-checked every lock in my apartment. That night, I slept with the lights on. The next morning, I went to the building manager in person. I showed her the note, explained everything that had been happening, the man at my door, the missing items, the laundry room. She looked concerned for the first time. "I'll talk to him," she said. "But honestly, if you feel unsafe, maybe it's best to file a police report." I didn't want to escalate things that far, not yet. But then I found the photo. A few nights later, I was scrolling through the pictures on my phone, trying to find one I'd taken of a restaurant menu, when I stumbled upon a picture I didn't remember taking. It was dark, grainy, and clearly from inside my bedroom. The angle was low, like it had been taken from just above the floor. It showed the foot of my bed, with me barely visible in the distance, asleep. I felt like ice had filled my chest. I lived alone. I locked my door, and I never left my phone in that position. I called the police the next morning. They came, took a statement, and checked my apartment for any signs of forced entry. Nothing. No fingerprints, no signs of tampering. They said it was possible someone had cloned my phone somehow, or taken the photo during a brief window of access, maybe while I was in the shower or asleep with the door unlocked. But I knew it was him. That night, I slept at a friend's place. When I returned 2 days later to grab more clothes, my heart dropped as I turned the corner toward my apartment. The welcome mat was gone again, and in its place was a Polaroid, an actual instant photo. It was a picture of me, taken from behind as I walked up the stairs. I could tell it was recent by the clothes I was wearing. I moved out the next day. I didn't even wait for the lease to end. I packed everything I could into my car and left. The rest, I left behind. The landlord didn't argue when I told her I was breaking the lease. Maybe she knew. Maybe others had left before me for the same reason. I filed another report with the police, but nothing ever came of it. No arrest, no charges. They said without clear evidence, there wasn't much they could do. The building didn't even have security cameras. To this day, I have no idea how many times he was inside my apartment, or how he got in, or what he wanted. But I still keep that photo, the one I found on my phone, as a reminder to trust your gut, and always lock your door.